and foundations. You will love this, so make sure you're still watching.
Welcome to another episode of the Effective Living Series 2024. My name is Apioko. If you're listening to us on City FM or watching us on City TV, then I'll have you know that this week, week one of the Effective Living Series, we're looking at personal development and particularly building resilient foundations. Now, we've been talking a lot about resilience and, ourselves, but now today, we're just going to look a little bit at how us as individuals connect with other people. And so our topic for today is emotional intelligence and building strong personal value systems. Before I introduce my guests, I'll have you know that this series is sponsored by Hallmark Freight and Logistics Company Ghana Limited, as well as Enterprise Life. And we're very happy that they're on board, proud sponsors, making sure that we can give you all the tips and all the wonderful things that you need to know to thrive in 2024 and beyond. Now it's time to introduce my guest. She is the managing partner of 565 Limited, Maame Gaisey. I don't think she needs an introduction, but I'm introducing her for the benefit of those of you who haven't experienced her magic just yet. Maame, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Apioko.
It's good to have you as well.
Nice to be here.
Great. Emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Value systems.
Yes.
The works.
Yes.
I mean, where do we even begin? I think we've been throwing around the word values a lot.
Yeah.
These days, it's not part of my values. It's not one of my values, But really, when we break it down, what does it mean when we say a person has values?
Values. Good. So I'd like to start from where values are derived from.
Okay.
I want us to understand that we all grew up with things that we are told are the truth, whether we have the supporting evidence or not. I'll use myself as an example. Growing up, my mom used to say you needed to be in Sunday school as a child. She felt it was her responsibility. I had no argument or space for that argument. And it's because she was building in me and my siblings the belief of Christ, salvation, and Trinity. So when you get through that system, you build a belief system, and the belief system gives you this idea of what holds truth for you as an individual. Now, when you have been given that system, you grow to begin to behave in a particular way. So that gives you behaviors. So your behaviors are the external expressions of your belief. Because I've been told about Christ and salvation and all of that, I tend to then know that I have to go to church, I have to read my Bible, do my quiet time, and it has become part of me. I mean, before I even got saved personally. Now, once you groom those behaviors, you begin to have things that you hold very dear. So the word value, just as you would have in anything, is anything you hold as important. So you have gold, you have assets, you have buildings, and you hold them very valuable. It means you invest your time, your monies, your resources, everything else in. So values are really what you hold as very important as a person.
Wonderful. Beautifully, beautifully put, right? So values, simply put, anything that you hold in high esteem,
yes,
that has importance,
yes,
that is precious to you,
yes,
as a person.
Yes.
Now, when we speak about values, usually the words belief, and then behavior come up, right?
Yes.
So values, belief, these are my beliefs, these are my values.
Yes.
We're using them interchangeably. But there's a distinguishing factor.
Yes.
Right? Let's talk about that.
Right. So you see, the beliefs are the statuses that you are holding. Sometimes you don't actually have evidence, and as you grow, you begin to see whether really this is something you will just accept as true, or this is something you want further evidence to. Now, when you believe in something, you begin to behave in a certain way. Let's take family life as an example. You meet people who will not equate anything with family. They hold it so sacred. So that is that person's belief, that family first, everything else afterwards. It will drive the kinds of behaviors this individual will live. And the person will now begin to hold tenets of the family life as their values.
Okay.
So it's almost like a build-up. You can equate them in some conversations, but it's very good that we understand that it is a derivative process.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. So beliefs, I mean, just to go through what we have here, beliefs are your opinions, doctrines or principles that are held as being true by a person. I believe that Santa Claus is real.
Yes.
I believe that there's a tooth fairy.
Yes.
I believe that if I stand outside for 10 hours straight, Gary will fall from the sky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
As to whether I have evidence of it or not,
No one
that's
can
what I
tell.
believe, and no one can, take that from
Yeah.
me. And then you behave in a way that manifests these beliefs. Okay, so if you believe that Santa Claus is real, then you start, making sure that you leave the cookies and the Milo out for him to come and drink some.
And write your wishes.
Write your wishes down. If you believe that it's Gary that will fall from the sky after 10 hours, then you block out 10 hours every week to go and stand outside so that manna will fall from the sky, literally. Okay, and then your values, a shorthand method for classifying beliefs and behaviors which an individual considers important. So now they're just these little snippets of the beliefs that now you begin to hold dear, and those become your values.
Yes.
Did I explain it? Am I a good student?
You are.
Wonderful. And I hope you're taking notes if you're listening to us, if you're watching us. Please do take the notes. Now, Mami, let's continue the conversation. Let's now talk about the objective versus the subjective.
Yeah.
And this happens a lot.
Yes.
You're having a conversation with someone, it's turning into a banter, an argument, and oh, you're not being objective, or somebody says something to you and your response is, oh, that's very subjective. Where are the facts? Where's the evidence?
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that and
Yeah.
how that affects the things that we've spoken about so far.
Yeah. So deriving that from the value system, you would see for an individual or an organization or a team that, you see, when you start the year, I'm sure that by now people are looking at their 31st resolutions like, did I really say all of that? So those are objective. So there are things that we can touch. You're looking at them. You want to be able to walk a lot more this year. You want to be able to go to school. You want to be able to grow your business by a certain percentage. Those are things that are visible. You can talk about them. You can measure them. But the truth is that your life this year is going to be driven a lot more by things underneath the surface that we don't even talk about.
Preach.
And those things are driven by your values. So these are your belief system. You have held this strong belief that you cannot go beyond this point. And no matter how many goals you set, which is the objective, because you are holding some belief underneath, it's going to make it very difficult for you to. So we are hindered or pushed forward by the set of beliefs and behaviors and values that we drive, because they are the undercurrents. It's almost like what is actually flying, the wind that is in your sail. Either moving the ship forward or flying your kite.
What you're saying, I think, is something that we all really need to pay attention to, listeners, viewers. The things you believe can actually hinder your progress.
Exactly. And you'll be shocked how powerful these things are. I mean, sometimes you talk about this and people are like, again, metaphysical. No. And if you studied the different kinds of religions, I mean, this is what we do growth on. If I sat with you throughout this year and I gave you the best support through coaching, through mentorship, and you believe that you cannot go beyond a whatever you're doing. So they're very powerful. So the objectives are the things that we are saying to ourselves. So you're looking for a job, that's an objective. What is driving that search is what is going to make the determination.
And I mean, there's an interesting diagram here that puts objectives
Yeah.
above ground level
Yes.
as the tree,
Yes.
and then the roots are actually the
Yeah.
subjective. And I think
Yes.
it's such a powerful
It
image.
is.
And for those of us who can see it on
Yes.
TV, I want you to take a look.
Yeah.
For those of us who are listening, so the tree is above, just like you have the leaves, the trunk above the ground,
Yeah.
and then the roots are beneath the ground, and it's put into a diagram. The objectives, which are your goals,
Yep.
your strategy, your
The
results.
results you seek.
Just as Mommy said, the things you can measure, right?
Yes.
Yes, they're above the ground. And then the roots, your values, your
Yes.
beliefs,
Yes.
your emotions,
Yes.
and spirit.
In their spirit, yeah. So they're the things that, and which tree will be able to grow without tapping into the roots for the nutrition that it requires to grow? It will wither. The leaves and things that we see. So you see people who have the best certificates, they do every course that comes along, but they aren't making much. If you sat with them, you would be shocked what is underneath and what is pushing that.
Let's talk a little bit about emotions.
Yes.
Because it's within the subjective
Exactly.
basket. How do our emotions, or how can our emotions
Yeah.
affect us and the progress we like to make as individuals?
Good. So sometimes we think of these things as, oh, people are talking about a lot of these things from different perspectives, and maybe this is how I was born. Yes, you may have been born a certain way, but I'm telling you, one of the things that is driving a lot of progress, be it your life in general, your career as a professional, or your business if you are an entrepreneur, is the kind of emotional intelligence you're willing to learn, adapt, and practice. You see, because Apiako, we get into an office space and just sit as an observer. It just has to take about 5 minutes of conversation, and you can pretty much, if you're very well tuned in, tell the energy in the room. That's what we call it. Now, if you are understanding that people are dealing with each other from a place of an emotional base, then you are aware that it's not everything that you just up and say to an individual. It is not every reaction that is allowed at a particular time. You need to understand this so that you are more graceful towards others. You know, people come to work. It's in the past when we used to say that, you know what, before you walk in, leave everything home. No, it's not real. No. It was killing people. People were struggling. Now we know that people bring themselves to work as a leader or as a colleague or as an individual. How much of yourself you're able to bring to work actually determines how engaged you are. And if you're dealing with your colleague and you are being very, brusque, you are harsh in your comments, why are you just like that? Without any consideration for the environment, for the people that are there. What you're doing is you're bruising people's egos, you're bruising their emotions without necessarily understanding where they're coming from and where they're headed. So our emotions, and these things can drive the way people work. You go to places, people are like, I just want to do the basics and I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It is because they are not connected.
Just watching the clock.
Exactly. I'm timing it. It's a 5:45, I'm packed up, 5, I'm at the door. It's not always the case, but a lot of the times it's because people are not connected very well. And it's because somebody, or even they themselves, are not emotionally in tune to be able to deal with the things that come along.
Revelations. My guest is Maame Gaisey. We're talking about, emotional intelligence and building strong personal value systems. Let's go for a break on the Effective Living series. We'll be right back.
Whether it's 1924, 2024, or 2124, we've always known that you are driven by your sense of safety and well-being. It is what drives us to see you through from start to finish, from small to big. And in the last 100 years, as you have evolved, so have we also expanded to serve you in many ways. From cradle to grave, with expertise in insurance, life, pensions, properties, health, and for those beautiful, memorable goodbyes. It's 2024, and in all our markets, our pedigree is recognized, our strength respected, our expertise valued, and our solutions sought by all who desire an advantage in life. Experience the time-tested and truly trusted 100 years legacy of Ghana's oldest insurer. Take charge of your future now. Insurance, life, pensions, property management, funeral services, health insurance. Enterprise for your advantage.
Welcome back. It's still the Effective Living series here on City FM and City TV. My name is Apioko. My guest today is Maame Gaisey. She's a managing partner of 565 Limited, and we're discussing emotional intelligence and building strong personal value systems. Emotional intelligence and building strong personal value systems. Now, before we went on the break, we spoke a lot about what it means to have values, how our beliefs, our behaviors, and our values are interconnected. We spoke about the objective versus the subjective, and how the things that are subjective, the latent things, the things underneath our skin, how they affect our ability to achieve our goals, and emotions are part of that. Now, let's go into emotional intelligence. It's a big term.
Yes.
Big term. What does it mean?
Yeah. And now, yeah, there's a lots of intelligences that we are talking about. But you see, for you to be able to understand this, my first question is, how are you in tune with your own emotions? A lot of us are even afraid to embrace our own emotions, name them, and embrace them. To talk about how we'll be able to look into the other person and figure out how you can positively engage this person emotionally. So for you to be deemed as emotionally intelligent, you first need to work on you.
So let's go on that a little. For example, a lot of people, and correct me if I'm wrong, when they're angry or they're upset about something, they don't want to admit it, right? So they're holding on to that.
Yeah.
Some people love someone,
yeah,
and they don't want to express it. Because it's almost as if loving someone will make you look weak. Similarly, some people are sad,
yes,
about situations, or they're grieving. They're going through a lot of pain, and they don't even want to face it, accept it.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of thing we're talking about?
So we are and how they impact your relationship with others, and being able to read, understand, and be empathetic towards other people's emotions.
That's a magic word, empathetic.
Exactly, yeah. So if you don't know yourself, a lot of us are going about preaching what we are not practicing. And I read just this week a quote that says, don't listen to yourself, don't do what you tell yourself, do what you tell others. And for me, it hit home. It was just about practice what you
don't
preach.
Do what you tell yourself. Do what you
tell others. Perspective, from business perspective, relationship. Children, be courteous. How courteous are you? Be graceful. How graceful are you? Because it's just going to take another driver running across you and the swear word is flying out of your mouth, and you've forgotten. You just taught the little boy in the car, be courteous when you're dealing with others. So the emotional intelligence under discussion here, and for me, my focus is on making sure that you're holding the space for the next person, be it your colleague, your family member, to be also express their values. Because a lot of the times I really want this, Apioko, and I want it. So I'm going to cry if I have to. I'll throw tantrums. You know, adults throw tantrums.
Yes.
I'm going to blackmail you with this quietness you spoke about. I'm not talking to you until you make sure that you've given me what I'm looking for, without understanding and being. So you go into some families or some workplaces and your colleague says that I want mind that the other person has maybe a chest concern or an is a very expressive,
right?
No.
So,
no, considering others
others
as critical and as key as yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, do unto others what you'd have others do unto you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yes.
Now, how do you develop your emotional intelligence?
I started off by saying that you need to know yourself. So self-awareness is a big thing. You know, a lot of people would like to say that they are very self-aware. And sometimes by the time you're done having the conversation with them, it's because they know their colors, they know what they like to eat, they know the restaurants they like to visit. That's not self-awareness. Self-awareness is knowing the things that drive you, knowing that as Maame Gaisey, there are things that I can close my eyes, be in bed, asleep, and I'll do it. That's my superpowers. And there are things that even though I've been trained to do them and I'm good at them and I could get paid by doing them, I really bring that up. So that's not necessarily a weakness, but I'd not like to do that. So that self-awareness will be able to help you be very aware of yourself and be able to hold the space for the others. Now then you come to managing yourself. Once you're self-aware, it helps a lot. You know that when you work towards a certain direction, you have been pressured on timelines for back-to-back a week. It just will take somebody asking for something that you don't think is worth asking for, and you're flying off. For some people, they just sleep. For some people, they just want to listen to music. You manage yourself so that you're not in a space where you're becoming I don't know the word to use, but you're becoming a bother to the people in your space.
So like a little monster.
Exactly.
You know? And everybody wants to be around you.
Everybody's
they're walking on
eggshells. They're very cautious and they don't want to say, even the baby cannot cry. You know, once you are self-aware and you're managing yourself, it makes you socially intelligent. So emotional intelligence thrives on social intelligence as well. Okay. You are socially aware. You know that when you are in this space, these are the things that we can do and not do. You don't come here and say that, as for me, what did the city people say again? No, as for me, this is what I want to do. And sorry, but everybody else can go to bed. I'm not going to do that. Then you are able to better manage your relationships. So you see, we started off from values, what you're holding important, what others are holding important. We've come through about understanding your own emotions and understanding those of others. Now we are talking about being able to know yourself, being self-aware, managing yourself so that you can manage others in your space, and by extension manage relationships. Because if you are unable to manage relationships, look, I've come across extremely professional people. I'm using the word deliberately. They are great and awesome at their works technically. If you gave them anything in their technical space, you can go to bed. But they cannot have a relationship with the next colleague, be it upwards, laterally, or downwards. And I know a lot of people, you're watching me, you have a colleague, or probably you are the one. You cannot even, I mean, I had a colleague, a senior colleague, him before you said good morning.
Good morning.
You know, so you can't manage relationships. we are looking at being emotionally intelligent actually helps in driving your career. It helps. And now some job descriptions and job adverts are coming with it clearly stated that
yes.
you need to be emotionally
Seen a lot of
intelligent
them.
and it helps because look at Pioko, we are working in spaces where we have diverse individuals. People are coming from different backgrounds, with different belief systems, with different behaviors. We have culturally diverse workforce. We have, I mean, even the most basic men and women.
Yeah. Men and women.
You know, so being aware of the way a man would or may react, or the way a lady will react to the same thing, is actually an intelligence that you need to grow as a professional, and we take them for granted. We think writing the next ACCA may be the one that I need to get the next promotion, but maybe not. Maybe what you do need is to be emotionally intelligent so that you can read the room, be able to relate to people properly, and be able to manage yourself so that we can, and when we sit around the talent table and we are talking about people and we're looking at maturity, it's not age. It's got nothing to do with your certificates or how old you are or how long you have been in the organization. It's some of these things that are now driving decisions to give promotions or exposure opportunities to employees.
What we used to call the soft skills.
They are as hard as can
They're
be.
not soft anymore. Now we know they are not.
No.
We know they're not.
No.
We know they're not.
No.
Mommy, you've said so much, and I do hope that those who've been listening to us, watching us, are actually jotting things down.
Yeah.
If you know that emotional intelligence is something you have not developed over time, now's the time to take all the tips, everything Mommy has said, and put it into practice for 2024. And it's not just for this year.
No.
For the rest of your life, you're putting it into practice in the workplace, at home, in the bigger communities that we find ourselves in. But we need to wrap up the conversation.
So soon.
I know, so soon. We need to do a part 2 of this, and because there's so much.
Yes,
there's so
there
much
is
that we
a
haven't
lot.
even touched on.
Yeah.
But I think we've hit the crux of the matter.
Yes, we have.
But do you have any final words that you want to share with us?
So I just want people to the resource persons are going to take us through different aspects of your lives. What I need your values. Let people know your name for. When people call Apioko, when I hear your name, I hear poetry. I hear literacy, so when people know you by the things that you hold dear, it makes it easy for them to deal with you. You're not, I'm not too sure what Maame, people know when it comes to Maame Gaisey, these are the things that you can be sure of. When you know that, spend some time, and these things, because they are very difficult, all of us don't want to work on them. Spend some time to know yourself, be self-aware, and learn a bit of social skills, and be able to manage yourself and others. Be gracious. Life is getting harder by the day, but I know that when we practice graciousness, we are more empathetic, able to come off and we'll be able to have everybody else come along with us. And I know, I'm very trusting that 2024 is going to be one superb year.
So am I. A big amen to that.
Yeah.
Maame Gaisey, it's always a joy to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have been speaking to Maame Gaisey, and I said earlier that if you hadn't experienced her magic before, now you have. And I'm sure you've learned a thing or two at least from her today. She's a managing partner of 565 Limited. And we've been speaking about emotional intelligence and building strong personal value systems. This is week 1 of the Effective Living series, where we've been exploring personal development and we're building resilient foundations. How do we do that? That's what we're learning this week. The series is sponsored by Enterprise Life and Hallmark Freight and Logistics Company Ghana Limited. My name is Apioko. Stay tuned for another episode on City FM and City TV. Bye-bye for now.